So, yeah, he had an issue with DeMarcus Lawrence saying that the team may have been a little fatigued when they took on Green Bay, and that he said, hey, look, we're the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody plays us. It's like the Super Bowl.
What does that mean? It's the playoffs. Everybody playing hard in the playoffs. This is what I don't understand.
Now, you see, this whole segment is about to lead to a much bigger issue, and we're about to dive deep. I'm really about to tear Mr. Scott apart, so y'all be sure to stick around and hit that subscribe button. But there's nothing insane about any of the players saying that they can feel the gravity of every game when they can tell that teams are coming in there and the Cowboys have a target on their back, because they do. They're going to have the most watched game that week. They're going to have the most covered game that week. And I'm sure for a lot of these teams that don't have anything else going on, the Cardinals, the Redskins, all these other teams, I'm sure it does feel like a Super Bowl for them. If they beat Dallas, that's their statement win. ESPN says it. If there's one says literally, everyone says it. Stop it, Bart Scott.
Attitude reflects leadership, right? Attitude reflects leadership. Mm-hmm. Who's the leader on that team?
They don't have one. Let's be honest.
Well, is it? Are you going to pay? No, bro. I'm talking on that defensive side, because that's who didn't show up. Like, I don't expect Dak to get in defensive players' face and say, not today. If you're going to be that generational player, if you're going to be that Lawrence Taylor player, like, listen, I played around great players that, Micah Parsons is supposed to be that. Ray Lewis ain't letting no team show up and lay no dud.
This man, Bart Scott, looked like the end of a Black and Mild that someone just put out on the sidewalk. And you sitting here trying to talk about leadership. Oh, we gonna talk about leadership in just a second. All y'all just remember he said that. I'm gonna go ahead and let this clown finish talking.
Ed Reed ain't letting no team show up and lay no dud. Darrell Reeves ain't showing up letting nobody lay no dud. He gonna perform and play with such an energy that's gonna make everybody else play. So that's what I'm talking about. He's lacking leadership, right? He doesn't understand what winning in this league is all about. Is he a great player? Yes. But just because you're a great player don't mean you're a great leader. He needs to go to a leadership school and learn how to lead by example and quit talking so much and being so damn sensitive. You're a linebacker. That's supposed to be a tough guy spot.
Now, when people are speaking their minds or just telling the objective truth that people can observe, it's empirical. You can literally see it. Now, anytime someone just tells the truth about what they're actually seeing, it's being sensitive now. But yet ESPN is one of the main platforms that pushes the whole mental health awareness and equality and makes sure everyone feels included. And yet you got people on your platform calling folks sensitive just for simply speaking their mind and getting stuff off of their mentals. Interesting.
He's the most sensitive guy I've ever seen. He responds to everything. Get off of social media, quit tweeting, quit talking about responding, and go about your business, man. That's how you change the culture. That's why Emmitt Smith came out and had something to say. That was directly to you, bro. So instead of responding to what Lawrence said, respond to what Emmitt Smith said and maybe sit down with guys that know what winning is about in this league.
It's very interesting to me that Bart Scott continuously wants to call out people and call them out of their name, whether it be soft or sensitive or whatever it may be, whatever word he chooses to use that day. It's just interesting to me that ESPN would rather keep up with dudes like this, who's the living embodiment of what a hypocrite is, because you have the nerve to sit here and call out someone's leadership and talk about how they're sensitive and all this other stuff. But at the same token, you didn't think we would find this clip of you showing the ultimate lack of leadership and discipline and everything else that you criticize these guys for, right? And also looking like a sad puppy that just got beat with a newspaper.
I was so shallow and so insecure that I fit in with the crowd. Instead of being a leader like I've always been, I fell in line and I used my success, my fame as an excuse to be able to do some of the things that I shouldn't have done. Football players, or professional athletes or people famous, you live life in light speed. You live on a whole different speed than everybody else lives.
I hate, though, that you're saying that.
And listen, I'm not trying, I understand that. I'm not trying to use that as an excuse, but, I had issues that I should have addressed a long time ago.
You would have had those issues regardless of what you did for a living.
That's true.
So it has nothing to do with what he did for a living.
That's
Whatever
true.
issues he had, he was going to have them if he was a garbage man, a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever.
When I say
I've met people, hold on, from all walks of life who have issues that he had. So I just want to clarify that because I think it's very unfair and I think people use it as an excuse.
Interesting, Bart Scott. I think that you probably need to do a much better job of taking care of that wonderful young lady that somehow managed to deal with your ignorant ass. Instead of trying to find reasons to poke and prod and call players out of their name over situations that your sorry network didn't even present the full context for. This whole dialogue that they're having is actually covering the exact clip that I made a video about with Micah Parsons when he was on Stephen A. Smith's show, and Micah Parsons essentially refuted the fact that you can't say you tired. That's a terrible excuse. That's not something that should be coming out your mouth. He talked about how it was a new season and players got to come with a new energy. Micah Parsons talked about how he needs to improve his leadership and do a better job of being vocal and being able to not only lead his guys and call out his guys, but also be able to go and talk to Dak when he needs a pickup. He talked about calling out specific players and making sure that accountability is being held across the board. But you know what's interesting? ESPN is so much more interested in parading clowns like you out on their platform. Instead of paying people and respectable people like Ryan Clark, they're more interested in parading clowns like you out on this platform so y'all can get rage views and clicks and engagement and stuff based off of this damn buffoon spouting out this nonsensical jargon on national television. It's funny to me you talk about how sensitive someone is and how they ain't showing leadership and how they need to be that person that steps up in the locker room. It's interesting that you're going in on all of that. Yet you couldn't even do the same thing during your playing career, and social media was much less prevalent back then. I wonder how you would have been able to deal with being an active player and really, truly having actual scrutiny on you. I know a lot of people probably didn't even know who you were outside of your one sound bite. Can't wait! But I wonder how you would have done with the amount of criticism and critiques that comes with playing as a Dallas Cowboy. Especially when you got fined $10,000 for raising your middle finger toward a cameraman in the team locker room. You refused to take questions, you pushed past reporters, and you cussed the dude out while flipping them off. Very interesting to me, so I guess we just pick and choose what comes off as being sensitive now, right? It's interesting you can call Micah Parsons responding to critics is sensitive, but you running away from critics isn't sensitive. It isn't something that a pussycat would do, huh? That's something a real man does, is run away from his issues. Or maybe they would just blame the fact that they have more money on the reason why they don't have enough self-control to keep their little swine flu infested worm in their pants, huh? Or maybe you getting upset at an all-time great Hall of Famer who turned out to be very correct about this particular player. Bart Scott, you blasted Ray Lewis of all people for questioning Joe Flacco's leadership. You blasted an all-time great NFL player, probably one of the best Ravens of all time, when he made comments about Joe Flacco's leadership, right? You got upset, huh? And then you asked the question, how many times are they gonna keep letting Ray Lewis off the hook? You said he already dissed Ray Rice when Rice went through his situation. Now he's dissing Flacco. Are you defending a woman beater, Bart Scott? Why are you trying to make Ray Rice a martyr in this discussion right here? Ray Rice should have got every bit of criticism he got for Donkey Kong slapping that woman the way he did and had her laid out on the floor like she needed Dak to send her a damn sleep number. So are you defending this? And then you have the nerve to say that Ray Lewis got a ring on his finger because of Joe Flacco? So you telling me if that defense wasn't still superb, that Joe Flacco could have just carried that offense to do whatever they wanted to do during that playoff run? You telling me that defense was just a wet blanket, huh? But you want to talk about people being sensitive, but you can't take a player who has every right to comment on a player that he has played with, a player that he has won with and broken bread with. He has every right to comment on Joe Flacco. Ray Lewis is literally one of the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens. And you, Bart Scott, think that you're going to come in and police how he's going to speak too? This sounds rather sensitive by you, Bart Scott, don't you think? To just get upset at Ray Lewis for questioning Joe Flacco's leadership when it's clear now in 2024 he wasn't a leader? And it's interesting that you, Bart Scott, said if you got an issue with how his leadership skills are and all that, you go talk to him. That's what real men do. It's interesting that you say that, but I have not yet to see you at all ever sit down and speak to any of the guys that you've criticized over the years and you've made outrageous comments about over the years. I guess that real men talk it out and sit down and talk it out rule only accounts for old or ex-teammates, huh? And it's also very interesting that you called out Ray Lewis for feeling pressure to make a splash when he got a job as an analyst. You said this is what happens, man. You get on the other side, you gotta say something. People put pressure on you to make a splash. Are you kidding me? You donkey-faced clown. Not only do you need to change your damn razor that you're shaving your face with on ESPN because it looks disgusting, it looks like you have a dermatitis issue, it looks like you got eczema on your goddamn on face, but you also need to change your approach, your tactics, your entire mojo. Because what you've built up right now, is a career full of holes and hypocrisy that anybody at any time can go back and point to any little situation and show just how big of an actual clown that you actually are. The nerve of you to take this young man's comments out of context when he was discussing the improvements that he needed to make as a leader, as a player. He was literally having that conversation with Stephen A. Smith. And you go out your way to want to call this dude sensitive and soft and all this other stuff and the weakest linebacker you ever seen. Say that to Micah. Say that to Micah. I'm willing to bet 100% all the stuff that you saying, you would not say it to him in person because you're a coward. And that's how cowards move. They throw up middle fingers and they run away from their problems instead of address them head on. At least Micah has had enough courage of his convictions to come out and say how he really feels, regardless of what anybody like you moronic people on ESPN have to say about it. And as far as I'm concerned, the stuff that he's been talking about is everything that Cowboys fans have needed to hear. Stuff that we have been wanting to know if it's going on or not. We wanted to know if players are talking to Jerry about what type of players they wanted the team. We want to know how these players look at that loss for Green Bay and know that it hurt them as much as it hurt us. We want to know that shit. So you, shut your psoriasis having mouth ass up, Bart Scott. Either way, y'all know how they in these videos now. We still them same damn Cowboys. Peace out. Go take care of your damn wife, dude.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still in ball? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still in boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still in boys.